Kocom model KVM 534 and KVR 500. Installation and demonstration. First, you open the box of the monitor. You will find the manual for you to consult, the monitor, the bracket behind the monitor, and all connectors and peripherals needed under the handset. First, you start by passing the cable from the camera to the monitor. If you have more than one monitor, you pass the cable in parallel from a monitor to another. You take the bracket of the monitor and you install it to the wall. You take the screws, drill the holes, put the screws to the wall and tighten them to the bracket. After the bracket is finished, you cut the cable and you trim all wires needed to connect the monitor. Make sure you make the wires long enough to fit in the monitor's screws. You have the B, the Y, the R, the W for connection to the camera. The others are for internal communication and switch of the lock. You have to connect the B1 to B of the camera, the Y1 to Y of the camera, the R1 to R of the camera, the W1 to W of the camera, B2 to B2 of the other extra monitor, Y2 to Y2 of the other extra monitor. SW1 and SW2 are used for the lock. As you can see, they are one after each other. You pass the power cable to the nearest socket, outlet or power point, and you connect the power to the monitor. You put the monitor in place on the bracket. Make sure you put them and you slot it in the holes. You bring the handset, you put it in place and you connect the small connector underneath the monitor on the left hand side. And the installation of the monitor is ready. Kocom model KVM 534 installation of camera. First, you take the bracket of the camera. You put it on the wall, eye level, where it's going to be fitted. You drill the holes, bring the screws and tighten them to the bracket. After the screws are tightened, you cut the cable and you trim the cable long enough for communication to the screws of the camera. We are going to use 4 wires for the camera, so you need 4 of the wires of the cable. After trimming the cable, bring the camera, open the screws for connection, and you have to connect B to B1 of monitor, Y to Y1 of monitor, R to R1 of monitor, W to W1 of monitor, and as we told you before, SW1 and SW2 of the monitor are going to be used for the lock. You can use also the lock from the camera as a switch, but it is safer to use it from the monitor. As you can see, you have the B, the Y, the R, the W, and the other two wires are used for the lock from the camera. You put the camera in place. You have the small screw provided in the box, and you tighten it to the bracket of the camera underneath in the small hole. And the installation of the camera is ready. Kocom installation KVR 500 memory module. You bring the module, you check the positioning, the height, you drill the holes, and you put the screws and tighten them to the wall. After tighten the screws, you hang the module and connect it to the wall. You take off the monitor, you connect the connector of the KVR 500 to the monitor. There is a small connector in the middle top of the monitor. You put the wires in line, and you have the slots to check for your first one. After you put the monitor in place, in line with the bracket, and the installation of the memory module is ready. Demonstration and functions Kocom model KVM 534 monitor. The visitor comes, presses the button, the attendant answers the phone, and can open the door with the lock button. You can check who is outside with the memory module. You have the functions. If you press the second button from the top, you put the memory on to record. The visitor comes, rings the bell, and if there is nobody at home, the monitor goes off after 1 minute. The visitor comes, rings the bell again, and you can record up to how many times it records, 64 times. The first button is used to check who was the visitor. The second button is to make it record. The third button is for settings. The fourth button and the fifth button are for settings the time and date. The bottom left hand side button of the monitor is for intercommunication, the middle one is to check outside, and the right one is for the lock. The other two switches are for contrast and volume of the system.